Okay? So here he is. ESPN sources the Sacramento Kings, one of the most aggressive teams in the market and once an eager suitor for Philadelphia's Ben Simmons, have ended pursuit of a deal with the 76ers and turned elsewhere in trade talks. Story soon. Then he goes on to say, inside of 2 weeks until the February 10th NBA trade deadline, the Kings believe the asking price for Simmons is too steep. You don't say. Is too steep. And that pathway to reaching an agreement with the Sixers doesn't exist. How do I get my thoughts out on this, okay? I just want to say I am losing hope that anything is going to happen before the trade deadline because it continues. Daryl Morey continues to ask way too much for Ben Simmons. And the Kings rumor was him attaching Tobias Harris to the deal. And the problem with this is you're asking a team to take on $350 million for two players, one of who quit on the franchise, refuses to come back, and is barely an all-star in the first place. The other one is an insanely overpaid role player. You're asking a team to take two max contracts that does not include a superstar. Okay? You're asking them to give you players in return, and the kicker that probably kills all of these negotiations is you're asking them for first-round draft picks on top of it. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. You're the one that's going to have to throw in draft picks if you want a team to take this stuff. It's ridiculous. But maybe I could be a little bit positive here, okay? The trade deadline's looming. I've said before, Daryl Morey is not going to jump and take something before February 10th. Maybe he's still playing a game. Maybe his price comes down as we get closer to the trade deadline. An interesting thing that Woj said yesterday on ESPN, which I don't know where he got this information from, is that Joel Embiid, Daryl Morey has the support of Joel Embiid. That's what he said. I don't know who told him that. I mean, he's the inside guy. He knows more than all of us know about what's going on behind the scenes. Woj is rarely ever wrong. He said Daryl Morey has the support of Joel Embiid. Joel never comments on any of this stuff, of course, and it's because he's a stand-up guy and he's not going to get involved in the backstage tea, as the kids say, right? But if he was that frustrated with the situation, with how he's been playing this season and the supporting cast and the fact that everybody basically knows that the Ben Simmons trade is what's holding up the team. We are two and a half games out of first place, which is absolutely insane for the lack of talent that's on this roster, and that just tells you how amazing Joel Embiid has been this season. But Woj said Daryl Morey has the support of Joel Embiid. I don't know where he heard that. I don't know who told him that, but, you know, who knows? Maybe Daryl Morey and Joel Embiid have had conversations. Well, I'm sure they have conversations all the time. Joel Embiid's the man of this franchise. Joel Embiid's the face of this franchise. Everybody knows that. I'm sure the ownership group and Daryl Morey and everybody else talks to Joel Embiid on a regular basis, because the last thing you want is your superstar, your MVP candidate, your top 3 NBA player is to be upset. The last thing you want is to piss him off. So I'm sure they communicate with him on a regular basis. So you haven't heard anything on the negative side, so I guess we got to assume Joel Embiid supports it. Maybe they're telling Joel, hey, listen, man, there's not a whole lot available right now. You know? Do you think that Tyrese Halliburton and Harrison Barnes are going to help you get to a championship more than Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris? I don't have an opinion one way or the other. I'm so stuck in the middle of this whole thing, and that's why I think Daryl Morey has a tough job to do in this situation. Because there's not a whole lot available right now. And in the offseason, this is where I'm at now. I'm convinced that we're going to wait till the offseason. I'm convinced of it. Yes, that is wasting an MVP level season for Joel Embiid, but I am convinced that Daryl Morey is going to wait till the offseason. It just is what it is, because as you get closer, as the season wraps up, teams are going to fall flat on their face. Teams are going to flop. Teams are going to miss the playoffs. Teams that are overrated, or teams that think they have a chance, are going to get knocked out of the first round. Teams that are bad right now are going to miss the playoffs for the third time in 4 years. Cough, cough, Washington Wizards. Teams are going to be more disgruntled. Players are going to be more disgruntled. Superstar players are potentially more going to want out of the situation when the season ends than they are right now. So I would love for this team to improve at the trade deadline, but my opinion doesn't matter, and yours doesn't either. The only thing that matters is, what is Daryl Morey going to do? So I'm convinced now that he's just not going to take a package of a couple of young Kings players and some picks, which they turned down anyway. He's not going to take that when he thinks that the biggest thing available is going to be right when the season ends in the offseason. I don't know if it's specifically James Harden that he's looking for. You know, the Wizards are bad right now too after having a decent first half of the season. Bradley Beal might want out. There's just going to be more opportunity in the offseason. Joel Embiid was just on a CNN thing talking about soccer, but they asked him about the Sixers season and his season and everything like that. And he said he has 10 more years of this. Now, look, is Joel Embiid going to play till he's 38? No. I don't see Joel Embiid playing until he's 38. What 7-footer ever played at an MVP level until he was 38 years old? Probably nobody ever, right? I think Joel Embiid maybe has 5 more years of this level of play. Maybe less than that. This level of play. I think if Joel Embiid can stay healthy and continues to improve his playmaking ability and things like that, he might have that many years left in the NBA. But the MVP level of play, how many years does Joel Embiid have left? But I think Daryl Morey is going to be more patient than we as fans are being, and he's going to wait till the offseason, and this just confirms it. Or another side of it could be the Sacramento Kings are like, oh, you want to play hardball? Daryl Morey, we're out. We're out. Maybe the Kings are trying to be tough, trying to play Kings don't have any leverage. You guys are god awful. Your players don't even want to be there anymore. You have no culture. You have no locker room camaraderie. You have nothing going in Sacramento at all. And you're sitting here trying to tell us the Kings have turned elsewhere in trade talk. You're trying to tell us that you're going to take a difference. What else are you going to get? Seriously. What are you going to get that's better than a 25-year-old with the intangibles of a Ben Simmons? Yeah, he has a lot of things attached to him. He has a lot of baggage, but you take the good with the bad, right? If you're the Kings right now, trading for Ben Simmons is like me dating a supermodel. Who's a psychopath, right? She's a supermodel. She's super hot. She might stab me in my sleep, but I'm like a 6 out of 10 at best. You got to take what you can get. That might be the worst analogy I've come up with on this show since it existed.